Tape Deck Media.
See you at the party, Richter!
Hello, and welcome to See You at the Party, Richter. My name is Chris Chapman, and joining me, as always, are my co-hosts Aaron Frescas.
Hello.
And Joseph Beck Castro.
Hello, cutie pies.
And joining us once again this week is Erika Shasky.
Hello.
And she is joining us to cover Arnold's 1993 satire vehicle?
Fantasy, action.
Yeah.
Horror.
Vehicle.
Car, truck.
Fair. Anyway, Last Action Hero came out in 1993. And we're going to continue talking about it today. So, Aaron, talk.
Okay. That was a good intro. Okay, so we were on them trying to find a director and then offering it to John McTiernan. And I read you guys a quote that McTiernan gave to the New York Times in 1993 saying basically that he passed on the film because the original script was quote, wasn't very good. It wasn't challenging or fascinating. It didn't have a spark. Mm-hmm. And then we talked about Paul Verhoeven and Arnold trying to find funding for Crusade, but it falling through because Verhoeven's fucking crazy.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I had one last thing I forgot to add about Crusade, like as far as Crusade. So I mentioned that Schwarzenegger and Verhoeven were talking to Carolco, / Mario Kassar, about funding, but Carolco decided against it because they were just broke as fuck.
Yeah.
Well, according to that Fiasco book, I guess it was Mario Kassar and Carolco that originally owned the rights to the film, which was surprising to me because I found articles about Arnold still trying to get the movie made in like 1999, but Carolco went bankrupt in 95. So I just assumed that either Arnold, like either one of them, like Arnold or Verhoeven had always owned the rights and they just brought it to Carolco to try to get funding for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, apparently even though Carolco was literally maybe one box office bomb away from bankruptcy, it definitely didn't stop Mario Kassar from making a $15 million deal with Arnold to star in Crusade.
Jesus Christ.
And it wasn't like some boring, like regular old deal. No, it was they agreed to a pay or play deal. Do we know what that is? No?
No.
Okay, so basically Carolco agreed to pay Arnold $15 million regardless if the movie gets made or not. So pay or play. Which normally wouldn't be a big deal because it's pretty common, like a common contract clause in Hollywood. Sure. Especially with dealing with like A-list talent, which Arnold was at the time. But Carolco was basically like hanging on a thread at this point. So like they were so bad with money that even though they co-produced Terminator 2 in 91, which made $500 million, these motherfuckers still somehow managed to lose $91 million that same year.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, how much of that is...
What?
Oh.
You cut
out completely.
Yeah, that was just more of a question of how much of that was Hollywood accounting, you know? Like, because in theory, no film ever makes a profit.
Yeah. But it was their company
they're
that
a studio,
lost $91
though. That's because of the studio. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
the movies can lose money, and it's all like, it's good for the studio, but if the studio's losing money, that's bad.
Yeah. So... they were getting investigated by the IRS at this time too, and I'm not sure what happened with it, but they owed money, and Mario Kassar is just really bad with money, and it's definitely Mario Kassar because Andrew the Vagster was out by this time. Andrew Vagina was already he sold his I think before Terminator 2 actually, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, I mean. That wasn't the worst decision because they were still $91 million.
Yeah, I guess.
And then I looked up the other movies that they did because I was like, okay, well, maybe they had like a huge bomb. But no, it was The Punisher, like the Dolph Lundgren one.
Sure. Yeah.
I thought I wrote them down, but apparently I didn't. And there was like 4 others, but
was that one based on the comic as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, I haven't seen that one.
I remember it being on all the time, but I don't remember anything from it. Anyway.
Remember when like comic book movies were just absolute dog shit? And then they became like kind of good in like the late 90s, you know, Blade and X-Men and early aughts. And then they kind of went back to like not absolute dog shit, but just like cat
No,
shit.
but we started
maybe?
making so many of them that it's hard not to make like half of them dog shit.
Yeah, like Daredevil. Oh my god, what a shit show that was. It's funny. I was talking to somebody in their mid-20s, and he was like, "Yeah, remember when comic book movies were good? Like when I was like growing up, they were all like good." I was like, "God damn, fucking children."
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm sorry to sidetrack there.
Okay, so I just looked, sorry. The 1991, they did LA Story, which I think was Steve Martin, which I remember looking up. It didn't lose money. It probably did.
Oh, right. Yeah.
The Doors, which didn't lose money. The Punisher, and then
Rest in peace, Val Kilmer.
Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
But it was definitely Mario Casar, and it was something about like he's just, it's like a lavish lifestyle thing, and then they would make dumb deals with like their stars. Like this is the second time like that they made a deal with Schwarzenegger before. What was it with the Terminator 3?
Like they didn't actually have the rights,
Yeah.
and they signed like they signed.
Or
up for the movie.
they got funding from different places, like from
Right,
two
but
different
they didn't have
studios
the rights.
before they signed Schwarzenegger, but they already guaranteed that he would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So has there been talk about cocaine with this guy? Because that's kind of what all you're telling me of just like these bad
it just
deals.
gets super hyped up.
Fucking just doing a bunch, but like, let's fucking do it, man. Let's just fucking do it.
There's a between the lines joke here that I'm trying to come up with, but it's not working.
Snort between the lines. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I'm just saying there's cocaine sprinkled all throughout the story, even if it's not explicitly said.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So basically, once Mario Casar realized that Crusade could potentially cost more than the original proposed budget, he backed out of that deal. And I'm assuming that Arnold I think he just really wanted to make the movie. So he agreed to the film rights in lieu of money, which, I mean,
Sure.
yeah, worked out for Mario Casar because it never got made.
Yeah.
So the best
That's
part,
true.
the best part is that Carolco also had another movie in development at the time. But after realizing that Crusade would be the more expensive of the two films, Mario Casar decided to back out of that deal and then make Cutthroat Island instead. Which year can I watch? It's whatever. I don't know.
It's really not that bad. It's like Romancing the Stone, but pirates.
He ended up selling that like right before they went bankrupt. He ended up selling that, and he also had the rights to Showgirls that he sold. So yeah. Anyway, to get back on track as far as finding the director for Last Action Hero. So 6 months after John McTiernan said no because that Zach Penn, Adam Lev draft of the script didn't like light his balls on fire, didn't have a spark or whatever it was that he ended up telling the fucking New York Times.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 6 months after turning down the director job, Columbia sends McTiernan the newly rewritten Shane Black version of the script, which was now titled Last Action Hero. And apparently it had a spark that was missing from that Penn Left version because he loved it. Telling the New York Times in 1993, quote, "What drew me is the wacko sense of humor Shane Black and David Arnott brought. Shane had done enough service in the salt mines of action movies to ridicule them in an acid way. That script had so much venom that I loved it." Unquote. And quick question, Chris, we didn't end up finding the Shane Black version of the script.
Not the one. Well, yeah, not the one that's just Shane Black. We found the one that had been touched up by William Goldman.
Yeah, which ended up a little, you said seemed like the shooting script, right?
Essentially, it seemed almost indistinguishable for the movie from what I've read of it. Like, aside from maybe a few words here and there, it's pretty damn close to the movie.
Okay, I was just curious if it was like that much better than the Penn Left one. But
I think the movie's that much better than the Penn Left script, so yeah, kind of.
So John McTiernan signs on as director in July 1992, and according to McTiernan, Arnold was about ready to sign on to do Tooth Fairy when McTiernan called him up and told him not to commit until he read the rewritten Last Action Hero script because it's good. It's seriously good. You know, I'm sure the whole time during that call, McTiernan was just going on and on about, that's got some spark. You got to read it. It's got spark. Don't sit down while you're reading it, Arnold. It's got too much spark. It could blow your balls out of your butthole. Okay. It's not a direct quote, but I'm assuming he doesn't talk like that. Hey, come on. John McTiernan's
your
more of
accent got deeper and deeper as you
John
go further
McTiernan's
into the
more
movie.
like it'll blow your balls out of your butthole. Like while smoking a cigarette. Like
You sound like fucking Batman.
I feel like you're just doing Bruce Willis from Die Hard.
It'll blow your balls out of your butthole.
Okay, so Arnold reads it, and while he agrees the script was good, he still felt there were a few elements of it that needed work before he agreed to sign on. And for Columbia, the sooner he signed on, the better, because this was all like taking place in July of '92, and the studio needed to know whether or not Arnold was on board by at least August if they wanted the film to be ready for summer 1993 release. So they were basically like, "Tell us what you want, we'll make it happen." Yeah. So both Arnold and McTiernan agreed that the third act still needed a little work. But Arnold's main issue was that the Black David script, the main issue with it was that the relationship between Danny and Jack Slater was kind of, yeah. Like there wasn't a whole lot of one. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know in the Shane Black only script.
Yeah.
I
don't think it changed very much. Like the relationship between them, but
yeah, in the Penn Left script, like the Arnold character doesn't have enough personality to really have a relationship with Danny. Like,
okay.
Yeah,
I think they gave him a little bit more personality in the Shane Black script, but I don't know if they like did anything with the relationship. I don't know. I'll try to find it.
Yeah.
But with Arnold ends up telling the New York Times about the script, about the Shane Black script, quote, "They had created rhythm and a pace and staggering action scenes. What I felt was missing was the bond between this kid and his hero. Thankfully, Arnold had a solution to fix all these problems. And not only that, but he also told Columbia that he was 100% on board if they fulfilled his request. All they had to do was bring him the head of Robin Hood by the next full moon."
Stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. Columbia told him, like, Robin Hood's not real, man, which just, like, shocked Arnold, who was like, "Wait, what about the Fox one? You know, the Disney movie? That's not real?" Columbia didn't want to upset him, so they told Arnold, no, that one's real, but he died back in the 14th century. Yeah. So Arnold gave like
after they shot the movie.
Yeah.
Semantics.
So Arnold gave like a dramatic sigh and like a disappointed like shuffle of his feet. He's like, "All right. Well, I guess, then he told him like he'd do the movie if they hired William Goldman to do the rewrite of the script in order to add like some emotional depth." Yeah. Stupid shit like that is why this takes me so long.
I was going to ask.
Well worth it.
Right.
I'm sure, like, to anyone listening, by the way, that the only thing that Arnold actually requested was the rewrite by William Goldman. He did not ask for the head of Robin Hood. Make that clear. Because you can't ask for something that you already own, He's like, I don't need the head. I want this heart.
I mean, what do you think that skull is actually?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Arnold tells Columbia that he's in if they get William Goldman, who had done an uncredited script polish on the Twins script a few years prior, which I'm sure that I totally mentioned when we covered Twins, because there's no way I'd miss that during my 10 minutes of fucking research that I was doing. Anyway, so apparently Goldman was like one of the top script doctors for Hollywood.
Yeah.
Because in addition to
whole
Twins.
book about it.
Oh, really? About him?
No. William Goldman has a very famous book on writing scripts.
Yeah.
On writing screenplays.
Yeah, I know. But so in addition to Twins, he also did uncredited rewrites for A Few Good Men, Indecent Proposal, and Dolores Claiborne, which I think is based on a Stephen King book.
That is correct.
Okay, yeah. So there was also a rumor that William Goldman supposedly did rewrites on Good Will Hunting as well. But he denied that being true, and only mentioned that because when he was asked about the rumor that he worked on it, he pointed out that the "It's Not Your Fault" scene was like basically using that as proof that like he's like, I didn't write that. Like, come on, like there's no way I would include that.
Write that bullshit.
Yeah. Well, he basically said he's like, if you've been if you've been to therapy before, you know that that's not the way stuff works.
Yeah.
Basically, is what he said. But about therapy.
To be fair, that scene was like not a real therapy session. Like they had an established relationship at that point.
That would be your counter argument when he gives that excuse. To be fair, like, it wasn't a
Robin Williams wasn't doing therapy there.
Exactly, he wasn't getting paid there.
His friend or his adopted son.
I thought that it's like he was off the clock at that point, so that would technically didn't count as therapy. The session hadn't started.
I called my therapist this week. I told her her job is thought prostitution, which luckily she thought that was funny.
What? I don't even know what that means.
I mean, it's kind of friend for hire, so it makes sense.
Yes, that's what her job literally is. And luckily, she thought it was funny, and she was like, "I should change the name, like the description on my cards, to thought worker." And I started laughing so hard, but.
Thoughtstitute?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I should have held my tongue on that one.
This is quickly becoming a Scientologist podcast.
Sorry.
No, I don't care. We're just joking around.
I watched, Laura and I watched Good Will Hunting recently, and to be fair, we were a little drunk, but I don't know, watching it, like, and knowing how old fucking Affleck and Matt Damon were, I was like, they're too young to write something this good. I don't know.
That was in his.
Or not
like it was like some big statement that was like he got asked it at he was doing a speaking engagement. I think that was one of the questions, but that was one of the reasons that he said, he's like, people are always saying that there's no way these two fucking wrote this.
Yeah.
There was someone else, and he said that sorry, could you finish what you're saying, Joe?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I'm not saying those two couldn't write it. I'm just saying it's hard for me to imagine a bunch of 23-year-olds writing it. It doesn't matter who the fuck they are. You know?
Right.
That makes more sense. He said that people are, like, they're these pretty actors anyway. But he said that
also,
they did.
I'm just saying, if he got paid... If he got paid to write that movie, he also probably got paid a lot of money to keep his fucking mouth shut so he could win the Oscar.
Yeah.
He said that Rob Reiner gave them, like, they showed the script to Rob Reiner, and there used to be, which I read in a Cracked article, but there used to be a bunch of like stuff about either the CIA or the FBI, like them trying to recruit Matt Damon's character, I think Goodwill, I think is his name. And they were trying to recruit him, and Rob Reiner told him to cut that, and they were still like hesitant about it. So he had them go talk to William Goldman, and he was also like, yeah, you need to get rid of that. But otherwise, like, focus on like the relationship stuff, like the William Goldman stuff. That's what he said. He's like, focus on the William Goldman of it all.
I mean, as we've seen, like, I think the joke back in the day was like, I think even Family Guy did this too, where it was like, one of their cutaway scenes, like, how imaginative. But those two are writing this script together, and Matt Damon's like, I got to finish, and Affleck's like hitting a bong. He's like, all right, cool, like Affleck didn't do anything. But it turns out it's kind of the other way. Like, we've seen from fucking Affleck, that guy can make a fucking movie. Like, he
absolutely
Argo. Didn't he win? I know Argo won Best Picture, but he won Best Director for that, and like what was it? I think so. Kill Baby Kill, something like that.
Yeah. Gone Baby Gone?
Yes, thank you. I was getting that, and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
And like
Kill Baby Kill sounds like
what's that fucking John Waters movie or whatever? Faster Pussycat Kill Kill or something like that.
Yeah, like motherfucking The Town. Like, homeboy knows how to fucking make movies. Like, I think we just kind of underestimated him, especially back in the day.
Come on.
He didn't. Wasn't that, who directed that? Was that Gus Van Sant?
No.
I don't think so.
I mean, Gus Van Sant did Good Will Hunting, but who fucking did?
I don't know who it was, but it wasn't Gus Van Sant.
I guess, to bring it back to my original point, which I already mentioned, I am not saying that those two could not write that movie. I'm just very skeptical that two 23-year-olds could write that sort of thing.
Yeah. Which, I makes sense. Just because, like, we're getting old enough to where we're like, there's no way. You know
how fucking dumb I was.
Wait, they're not talking about. Yeah. Wait, they probably are talking about jerking. They're not talking about jerking off all the time. Okay, who likes better music? Talking about titties. Wait, shit. This is like the shit out right now. Okay, well, scratch all that.
Yeah, but there's only one reference to using a catcher's glove as a flashlight. Come on.
Yeah, so Goldman had a pretty solid list of credited work as well. He wrote 1969's Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, which didn't watch, as well as this 1976 movie. I guess, I don't know. All the President's Men was, what are those called? Not a docudrama. It's a
biopic or biopic.
Biopic?
Historical drama?
Historical drama, yeah. Both of which won the Oscar, won him an Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
Or which he won an Oscar for, both. Haven't seen Butch Cassidy, but I remember watching All the President's Men in high school and being bored, but I was also pretty dumb, and it was the 90s, and the movie didn't star Jim Carrey, so like I'm not gonna like pay attention to it. Come on.
And it's All the President's Men. It's not All the President's Boobs, you know? Or All the President's Chicks.
Yeah, that was also like, I'm like, it also didn't have boobs in it. Robert Redford, Dustin Hoffman. What? Okay, anyway.
I mean, Deep Throat caught your attention, but aside from that...
Things just got interesting once they mentioned Deep Throat. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Where's Linda Lovelace? Okay, that's a very old reference.
Yeah, that's a reference older than you.
Yeah.
But, okay, so Goldman also wrote 2 hit movies about a decade later, one of which was adapted from his own novel, and then the other was based on a Stephen King book, and those were The Princess Bride in 1987, followed by Misery in 1990. Crap. I just realized I probably should have looked up which one was the Stephen King book, but, well, having watched it too, I would say The Princess Bride.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
But yeah, so Goldman's other credits include Chaplin in 1992, The Ghost and the Darkness in 1996, and then 2 more Stephen, he did other stuff, but there was 2 more Stephen King stories in there. 1999's Hearts in Atlantis, and then 2003's Dreamcatcher, which were Lawrence Kasdan. I looked up. We were talking about that. Okay, so Columbia immediately reaches out to William Goldman, who initially turns them down due to finding the script too bloody. But they must have kept hounding him or something, because a few days later, he agreed to a conference call that would include Arnold's agent, and then Columbia's top 3 executives. I'm going to assume that out of the 3 of them, I'm going to assume that out of all those people, the lot of them, I guess, would be the way to go about that. It was probably actually Arnold who did the most of the sweet talking in this case.
That'd be my guess.
Unless there's a charming as hell studio exec, who's just, but no, I don't know. No. Maybe they got to be able to get that high for.
I don't know. Maybe if he worked with them a lot or something, he knew one of them. I don't know.
Well, he had a relationship with Arnold because he, they developed at least a working relationship. Although also doing a little bit of that persuading was the money. Because Columbia offered Goldman $750,000 for 4 weeks of work.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, which worked out to about $187,000 a week, or about $27,000 a day.
Damn.
In return,
how much is that an hour?
I did not figure that out.
To write Leo the fart.
No, that was Shane Black.
That was Shane Black, but that's
he had to make that a more emotional thing, to give him
to make that more believable on a character.
Yeah,
level.
He's and then they smelt it. But they could not deal with the fact that someone else did. Anyway, in return, Goldman was supposed to make the script a little more family friendly, palatable or whatever, basically to make it more appealing to a broader audience.
Sure. A
little more Princess Bride, a little less Misery, basically. Because Shane Black was definitely leaning on the art. Shane Black admitted during an interview that they were constantly trying to see how far they could push the PG-13 rating. Yeah. So I'm assuming they just wanted William Goldman to reel it back into more PG-13. Anyway, And Goldman definitely made some pretty significant changes, including changing Danny's age from 15 to 11, which according to the New York Times was at Arnold's request due to the fact that he had, quote, played opposite a tough teenager in Terminator 2 and didn't want to do it again, unquote. And wasn't John supposed to be way younger than Edward Furlong actually was in Terminator 2?
Yeah. Didn't we talk about that? He was supposed to be 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's I have written down in the script that he's a dirt bike riding toddler. So I don't know.
No, he was 10 because the movie takes place in 1994 and he was born in 84.
Okay. So that's why they changed the age, which there's a bunch of changes with I'm assuming with that too, Chris. The way the character acts too.
I didn't feel like I had a good idea of what Danny's age was in the original script.
From what Zach Penn left, and then Shane, I thought it was 17, but it's anywhere between 15 and 17. Apparently it's 15, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Didn't get
he
that
was
feeling,
older,
but
apparently this also made the Danny character more vulnerable because kids have no sense of self-preservation whatsoever. Like seriously, I once saw this kid run in a busy parking lot without even bothering to look around because he was trying to hide from his dad, like playing a joke on his dad, trying to hide from him. Like, I saw his dad like running around, like yelling his name. He's like, Jason, and the kid kept like moving around the car, like and just laughing. I was like, oh, this is good, but that kid's gonna get hit by a car. I was like, and his dad was freaking out. Jason, and then he like run around the corner. He starts laughing. He's like, "Oh my god!" Oh, it was good. Anyway, sorry.
Rest in peace, Jason.
Right?
Up there with Val Kilmer.
But yeah, I guess he also made the Jack Slater character more vulnerable, which makes me curious how much of that ended up making it into the final script.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Goldman's other changes included promoting Benedict from secondary villain to main villain.
Yep.
As well as, according to John McTiernan, getting rid of 150 toilet jokes, which I think means fart jokes, and I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like, I don't know. Like the whole little the fart sequence just makes me laugh. So
yeah,
I'm on Shane Black's side so far.
That's really funny.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he was exaggerating, but yeah, the other couple big changes that it seems like they would have shifted the tone of the movie a bit. Mm-hmm. I guess William Goldman got rid of some of the more supernatural elements of the movie, or rather, exorcised them. Huh? Yeah.
Ghostbusted.
Yeah. Okay. The first one being changing the character of Nick, the projectionist, into a sweet old guy who probably seems like he's Danny's only friend, I think. Like, it kind of seems like it, which is definitely a big change from both the Penn Left and the Black David versions of the script. What was Nick the character like in the Penn Left draft?
So in the Zach Penn version, he's basically the devil.
Oh.
Okay.
Like, he's the bad guy.
That's interesting.
It starts out and he's just a projectionist. He's like Danny's buddy that lets him see movies early, which is fine. But I think the theater is literally called the Asmodeum. Yeah, I think it's called the Asmodeum. Which
What's that?
I think Asmodeus is like I was supposed to look this up. Asmodeus is like a devil thing. It's like an evil thing, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, thank you, Joe.
Joe, if you, I know you know what it is. If you remember what it is, let me know.
Yeah.
A figure of Jewish legend and demonology, the king of demons. Anyway.
Yeah. Duh.
Oh, wait. Hang on. That makes sense, because
how do you spell
what's
that?
the guy's name in Fantasia?
ASMO.
Mickey Mouse?
No.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
the king of demons. Yeah.
The King of Demons.
Yeah. Mickey Mouse.
So
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to insult Disney in front of you.
I don't care.
So he's just like, it's like a demon,
He's like,
at least a demon.
At first, he's just an old man. Kind of, he's like Nick, just a little less goofy.
Oh, that's not what I expected.
Does it turn into horror? Basically, like a...
Not exactly, but like... So, and then there's this weird moment where he gives Danny a gun before he goes into the movie.
Before he goes into the movie?
He gives him like a magic gun and tells him that... Like, it's after he gets mugged, right? So he's all upset about that. And he's talking to him about how there's no justice in the real world. And so he gives him this giant gun and tells him, it just says, promise me that when you encounter a moment when justice is not being done, that you'll use it. So he's basically making him promise to murder somebody. And then he jumps into the movie. You don't know who the bad guy is. He's just this weird, random villain that has bandages all over his face. And then there's a reveal at the end of the movie when he takes off the bandages that it's the projectionist.
Oh, that's right, because they don't come back. Yeah.
No, they don't come back. The entire climax of the movie is in the movie.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
And they, like I told you last time, at the end of the movie, they end up in the movie world back at an old movie theater.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like somewhere in that scene, it like transitioned into the Asmodeum, like the same movie theater that he was originally at. They have a final showdown there. The projectionist is like yelling at him to kill him, basically. To shoot him, the projectionist.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Like, because he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
And Danny has to like figure out that violence is not the answer. And then like the last shots of the movie, like the movie are like the theater going up in flames on the movie screen, and the projectionist like falls into the fire.
But he's Satan, so he likes that.
Yeah,
He's like,
he's probably cool with it.
he's like crowd search, like
He
dying
doesn't
with the
like
crowd.
Home.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, he's, like I said, basically the devil.
So
That makes sense because that whole character to me gives off very like Catholic preacher vibes.
Oh, really? He gives off a Grandpa
Yeah.
Munster vibe to me.
No, he's very like, I don't know.
No,
like,
he was the Catholic
Why?
priest in Rudy.
Because
Yeah.
he's
Yeah, there you go.
talking to young, impressionable boys. Is that why it gives you the Catholic priest?
not
Yeah.
supervised by their
and
parents.
not
Exactly.
supervised by his parents with no other like living soul around. The theater is that kid's church. Like,
That's true.
come on.
Man, Erica's
Yeah.
doing, all right. Yeah, this movie's sick.
That's right. Catholic Church, you're never living that shit down.
Okay, so I actually have a quote from David Arnott that Nick the Projectionist was the villain in the original script, but they took it even further, saying, quote, in Zack and Adam's script, the villain within the movie turns out to be the projectionist of the theater. We extended that and made the projectionist the devil because who's better soul to steal than the young kids who sneak into R-rated movies and live for violence?
Wow.
Yeah, fuck those
mean,
kids.
Yeah, I don't know.
Stealing from the hardworking people. Come on. Anyway, okay, so tell me if this is the end of the actual like movie, but he continues by saying, in the end, or in our ending, Nick tries to goad the kid into shooting him, but Jack talks him out of it. Then Nick, the devil, says, what are you going to do, kid? Your Jack is dying. You're not going to help him. The kid puts down Jack's gun and says, Nick, when I was younger and my dad was around, we used to play cowboys and Indians together. All I ever really needed was this. And then he clicks his fingers in a fake gun and he sort of looks at it and there's a pause. The kid aims his finger at Nick and says the word bang, and a thick hole blows through him. He goes bang, and another hole, and then he goes and a bunch of holes. Not to sound really corny, but he essentially kills him with his imagination. And we thought, God, that's good.
That's kind of what happens in It from Stephen King.
Yeah, true.
So,
So it's
But
good.
I think it
Joe
works a
agrees.
little bit better in it. Yeah.
yeah. Well, the book. Oh, the fucking do.
No, they neg him in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh,
I mean,
God. Lose some weight, you fat bitch. Like, yeah, that was my favorite
You're
one.
just a bully. He's like, oh, I'm a bully. I'm just a fucking being from the outer realms. Fucking
You won't even
deadites,
eat black kids, you son of you fucking racist. Yeah. Shit like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I liked it. I loved it. Well, I'm pro bullying though, so. By the way, the more that I read about the way that all the writers talk about their own scripts, the more I realize just how like sweet your own farts smell.
Yeah.
Which is an observation I think that Shane Black would probably appreciate. He's like, bookends, fart jokes.
Yep.
I mean, shit, I listen to this podcast and
Right.
it feels that way.
Mm-hmm. By the way, sorry, you asked me if that was what happened in the original script.
Yes, yes.
No, there was a lot less talking. It was just like him, like screaming at him, like "Do it, shoot me, come on, do it now."
Did he do that?
But
Did
yeah,
he
he
do
just
the
no, he didn't do
imagination
the finger gun thing.
Okay.
He didn't like talk to him at all. He just like decided not to shoot him, and then they
How
came out.
boring.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we got to
How
find
boring and subtle.
that. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's not glorious like wow,
Yeah.
He starts using his fucking wiener, just like
It's definitely the sound of guns. Pow, 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 pow.
just like bam, bam. Anyway, okay. I want to set up the final Goldman change I have by watching. Let's watch a quick deleted scene for the movie.
Sure.
This takes place after Jack Slater and Danny arrive in the real world, and is an alternate take of the scene when Danny starts complaining about like that they've been searching for Benedict all day before spotting him coming out of the movie theater, like which ends up leading to the sequence when Slater's running across the cabs in the rain, and then Arnold giving like the rubber baby buggy bumpers.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. Hey guys, Aaron here. Just a quick heads up that we're not going to play the clip, mostly because the sound quality for it was so bad that we had to turn the subtitles on when we were watching it. Basically what it is it's a 3-minute alternate or extended sequence of the scene I just described that includes a pretty somber conversation between Jack Slater and Danny about Danny's dad, who we end up finding out died from cancer, and then Jack explaining that his dad was murdered. If you want to check out the scene for yourself, you can find the YouTube link in the episode's description. The video includes all the movie's deleted scenes, but you can find this particular scene about 2 minutes in. Okay, now back to the episode. Okay.
I don't understand what I was supposed to be looking for.
Yeah.
Just the fact that I'd never thought about it before. Basically, I don't think the whole Danny's dad thing was the worst deletion.
I think I was not thinking about it because in that Zach Penn script, it's in there a lot.
Yes, I know that.
Like, that's the whole point of that. That's like Danny's whole arc is coming to terms with his dad's death.
I think knowing that does maybe help as far as like the connection between Dak and Janny. Jack and Danny, in that they're both kind of like pretty much like the replacement for the person that they lost.
Yeah.
But it's such a huge shift in tone from pretty much the rest of the movie.
See, maybe that was the problem with the Zach Penn script and Arnold's character. He didn't need Danny. He hadn't lost any kids.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
In the Zach Penn script. So, like, he had no reason to give a shit about Danny. It was just about Danny and his dad.
They also called, they were very clear that the whole thing was, like, wish fulfillment for the Danny character.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Yeah. And I like a good comedy dramedy. I don't know. They got to come up with a name for that.
Comedy?
A comma.
Comma. Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's right.
Good one.
But yeah, it's probably one of my favorite genres when it's done well, which is why I like 6 Feet Under. But like, this feels out of place with the tone that they've already established throughout the rest of the movie. Like, rewind 25 minutes, you can watch a scene where F. Murray Abraham gets shot by a cat. Like,
yeah.
So, just a heads up, we're going to bring this up again when we do the summary, but I wanted to show you guys that deleted scene because according to the New York Times, William Goldman deleted a scene that included, quote, some supernatural elements, including Danny's telephone call to his dead father, which, unquote, and damn.
Yeah.
That's some pretty heavy stuff for a movie that includes a character getting impaled by an ice cream cone, which was Shane Black, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, holy shit, like that's fucking depressing. It's just a weird tonal shift, even with like.
But that's part of why I said that the Zach Penn thing didn't feel right, because some of it felt like Blazing Saddles and Airplane, and other parts were genuinely trying to get you to give a shit about Danny and his relationship to his dead dad,
who you never met.
Who you never meet. The tonal whiplash is definitely kind of weird in that script.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay, so moving on, William Goldman hands in his draft, but supposedly Arnold wasn't completely happy with it. It was too serious and had lost like that zing or spark or whatever that made it a fun summer movie.
Yeah.
So they brought Shane Black and David Arnott back to give it like some of that spark that I've decided just makes John McTiernan's loins throb. You know, that's what they wanted. That's the right look, Erika. She's like, Anyway. Sorry. Okay. Anyway. And by the way, because Zach Penn and Adam Leff were never officially fired, because they were never officially hired, they kind of were just hanging around. Like, Zach Penn even says in a 2018 retrospective article by The Telegraph that he would call up studio executives and tell them what he thought was wrong with the story. And he's like, I can't believe that they did not hang up on me. Which I find slightly annoying because it bugs me when people can't read or just don't care enough to read the room. But like, I kind of also don't blame them because they were pretty much ghosted by like the studio, and they didn't have any prior experience. So they were like, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah. We don't know how involved we're supposed to be. So wait, he was still getting drafts of the script?
I guess he was able to read them somehow. So I don't know who yeah. But I'm pretty sure they were still doing rewrites up until filming began. And I don't want to write about the script anymore. So let's get the rest of the writers out of the way so we can move forward. So there was Shane Black and David Arnott gave it a go. Columbia still apparently and Arnold wasn't happy with the script. So they next brought in Larry Ferguson, who had written the John McTiernan directed The Hunt for Red October. He also co-wrote Beverly Hills Cop 2 and was the original, he's the original Highlander, but he's the original writer for Highlander. He might be the original Highlander. I don't know. So two Sean Connery movies. Oh my God. 2 Sean Connery movies. And I'm curious for the Hunt for Red October, instead of like describing Sean Connery's character as like a Sean Connery type, like in the script, he just wrote out the dialogue like phonetically, like Sean Connery type. like just a lot of shusters and I don't know. Anyway, He also wrote the screenplay for Alien 3 right before he did Last Action Hero. So it's probably a good thing he wasn't credited on Last Action Hero because that's that 1-2 combo is not the best.
Yeah.
Next is Sally Robinson, who co-wrote McTiernan's last film before Last Action Hero, which was Medicine Man.
Another Connery film.
Yeah. And
is that's in the Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman verse, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
I think they're in the jungle, but yeah, like that's her Scottish uncle. I think they are in the jungle in that movie.
No, that's her Scottish descendant.
No, uncle.
No, she's in the fucking Old West.
He's a Highlander, okay?
Oh, all right, fine.
Yeah, he's got you there.
Yep.
Can't argue with that.
Hold on. I decided to dump booze on my ski board.
What's going on over there?
He was just thinking about Dr. Quinn.
Yeah, Sean Connery, not Jane Seymour. Okay, so next, Sally Robinson, she wrote Medicine Man, and who, according to the LA Times, was brought in to write the 4 scenes for Danny's mom. Yeah, but Aaron, you say, didn't Danny's mom only have 3 scenes in the movie? Very observant, Joe.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that in the summary. But as far as, because I was running out of time, we'll get that in the summary. But as far as Sally Robinson, the LA Times credits her for writing the mom's dialogue, but also mentions that she denied being involved in the film.
Interesting.
And then lastly, we have Carrie Fisher, who isn't listed on anything official at all. The only reason that I have her listed is because both Shane Black and Zach Penn confirmed that she did some work on the script. I just forgot to mention that Charles Dance ended up writing most of his own dialogue.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay, so the total cost Columbia ended up paying out for all these fucking jabronis to work on the script was allegedly $3 million.
Damn.
Yeah. So, which was crazy because Shane Black got $1 million, and then they were paid. The first 2 were paid $350,000. So
Goldman, you said it was paid $750,000.
Yeah. So it was Anyway, so Arnold agreed to start for $15 million. John McTiernan was paid $5.5 million, and in July of 1992, they announced a release date for Last Action Hero, which was June 18th, 1993. Unfortunately, a few months later, Universal would announce that its big summer movie would be released on June 11th.
Oh.
And
Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. So basically, Last Action Hero ends up blowing Jurassic Park out of the water.
Yeah, as we all know.
Yeah.
Right.
But we'll get to that later.
All right.
Alrighty, and that's going to wrap things up for this episode. But join us next week when we'll be discussing some of the interesting marketing decisions that Columbia made, as well as doing a little compare and contrast between the Last Action Hero and Jurassic Park production schedules. Maybe a little bit of their marketing stuff too. Anyway, thanks so much for listening, and please don't forget to leave us a rating and review on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify because it just helps so much. Thank you again, and we'll see you soon.
See you at the party, Richter!
If you enjoy our show, please consider giving us a positive review on Apple Podcasts or your podcast app of choice. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Potty Richter to make sure you never miss an episode. See You at the Potty Richter is a production of Tape Deck Media. Follow Tape Deck on Instagram at tapedeck_media or look us up on Facebook for more hilarious podcasts.
This has been a Tape Deck Media production. Thank you for listening.